Hello, and welcome to Japanese Craft Beer Reviews. Today is a day when we are going to look at a beer that's not made in Japan, but one that's made in the United States, in the state of Oregon, to be exact. And that's a place where I have visited quite often. Portland is one of the great beer towns in the world, and actually the entire state of Oregon has a number of great breweries, including the one we'll look at today, which is from Rogue Ales, and this one's called Rogue Dreamland. But first, a little bit about Rogue Ales. They were founded in 1998 in Ashland, Oregon, actually, which is down south near the border with California. It's probably most famous for its annual Shakespeare Festival, Ashland, Oregon. So it was founded there in 1988 by three Nike executives. And very quickly, the next year, they moved to Newport on the coast of Oregon, about halfway down. And they're named Rogue, but actually Newport doesn't have the Rogue River. That is farther south. It comes out around Gold Beach, Oregon, and so a little bit farther south. Actually, it's the Akina River, which comes out at Rogue, where Rogue is located in Newport. They do a variety of things. They distill spirits, and they make cheese as well. And the brewer, John Mayer, became quite well known in West Coast brewing circles. And I think he's retired now, but he kind of helped them build Rogue into a very large brewery. I guess we call it a regional brewery. And they have 11 pubs on the west coast of the United States, primarily in Oregon, and several in Portland. I've been to the one in Portland, the main one in Portland, and they have one on PNU campus, I believe, PNU, Portland State, PSU, and of course in Newport, the brewery in Newport as well. It's quite an interesting place to visit. I've been there a few times. And they've also developed what's called Pac-Man yeast, which they use in a number of their beers, not in the beer we'll look at today. And since they were one of the earlier breweries in the craft beer movement in the West Coast, they've kind of been overshadowed now by a lot of younger, more adventurous breweries. It's kind of unfortunate that this happens a lot, with in any kind of craft form, I think, or art form. The older guys kind of get, shunted aside, but Rogue certainly makes good beer, and often great beer, and they certainly deserve our attention. Okay. All right, and on Rate Beer, there were, I think, 400 some odd beers listed. On Untappd, 623, and the average rating was 3.67 for all those beers. Okay, well, enough about Newport and the brewery, and let's look at the beer today, which is called Rogue Dreamland, and it is an American lager at 4.8%, 14 IBUs, International Bittering Units, and of course what you see here is a skateboarder in kind of a dreamland, and the proceeds for this beer go to a group called Dreamland Skate Parks, which build skate parks around the world. And they actually helped build one in Newport, Oregon, the home of Rogue Ales. And so on Rate Beer, this one has 78 ratings, and the average is 3.08 out of 5, 34 percentile for all beers on Rate Beer, and 98 percentile for its style, which is, on Rate Beer, is considered a pale ale American. They call it American lager. Well, same thing. But pale ale means that it's not a premium lager. It has some adjuncts. And the adjuncts, well, let's get to it real quickly. The malt is Synergy pills and Dextra pills. And here's the adjunct, corn flakes, that they add into it. The hops, Sterling, are the only hops used in this. Kind of an interesting one, I think, for a Pilsner, for a lager. Imperial Pilgrimage yeast, which I do not know about, and I'm wondering if it's probably a Rogue in-house yeast or not. Okay, all right. So Rogue has really changed the label art for a lot of their beers. Look through my playlist of Rogue beers if you like. Okay, and let me get this going here now. Okay. Okay, it is very, very pale, very lightly hazy. Maybe this could be chill haze. I'm not sure, probably. And pretty substantial carbonation rising. And a nice fluffy finger or so of foam. Okay, certainly does smell like a Pils. Definitely light, bready, kind of biscuity. Very, very pleasant. Some citrus notes coming up as well. Okay. All right. Flavors as expected. Kind of the Pils malt element, which I get in the aroma quite well, is not quite so present. Okay. It is lightly sweet. Definitely some Pils malt, but it doesn't come across as a Pilsner quite as strongly. I'm wondering if this is they've covered it up here. I can't quite see. 2023. No, it's not out of date. So okay, so it was brought over in December of last year. And we're now in April, so it's maybe reaching its kind of maybe 6-month sort of shelf life. Not unpleasant, but it really does taste like a macro kind of American style lager. Again, not unpleasant, but just not a real knockout, that's for sure. I don't know what the cornflakes are doing in this. Corn is an acceptable element. Certainly it's been used in American beers because of the abundance of corn that's always existed in the United States. Well, I'm a little disappointed, but not terribly. All right, this is drinkable. I would say you go ahead and give this a go. Or if you happen to see it. Rogue is imported into Japan, and of course you can find it certainly on the west coast of the United States. Once again, this is called Rogue Dreamland American Lager, a pale lager, American style, 4.8%, 14 international bitter units. Go give it a try and tell me what you think. And I'd like you to subscribe to the channel. Okay, please do. And let's have a conversation about beer together. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.